Hey y'all, so this is just a quick video and I'm going to go over all of the most important websites that I use as a teacher, and obviously we start with my YouTube webpage because it's just the best webpage that there is. But there is a second best webpage, which is kind of also the first, and that is the Adobe Linux project, which is my software thing. But anyways, I'm actually just bragging here. Obviously both of them are kind of crappy, but the web pages I am going to show you, I do use on a regular basis, but I don't use them for like necessarily the work that I'm going to do in the classroom so much as the work that I do to prepare for the work in the classroom. So what I mean is, we teachers all have like our own grammar books, our own readers, our own math books, science books, whatever, and a lot of those come with software or CDs or some sort of online or interactive thing, and you're going to use those websites, and I don't know what all of those are. I mean, right now I use Macmillan Gateway. In the past I used Face-to-Face. It's different for different teachers and different grades and so on. But there are some things that are tools that you can use just sort of across the board. So ignoring, which we should never do, the Adam Hojo YouTube webpage and my personal Linux webpage, this is one that I use. Now, I didn't want to show you entirely how to use it simply because it takes a couple of minutes to upload the videos. But basically what you do is, it starts where you can either upload an existing video that you have, a video file, an MP4 or AVI or whatever, or you just put in a YouTube link. And so what I did was put a YouTube link into one of my other most awesome, incredible videos, because all of them are. And then what this does is it'll create subtitles for it automatically. And the reason I'm not showing you the whole process is because it takes a couple of minutes. It has to upload, and then it has to basically listen to itself and transcribe. But what you end up with is this. It won't be there. It's actually built into the photos. And then what you can do, if you choose, you can export that video with the subtitles out as a separate MP4 file. I believe it's MP4 anyways. You might be able to choose, but I think it's probably an MP4 file. But what you end up with is, you had a video without captions, you end up with a video with captions. Now here's the thing, you can see like right here, MP4, whereas that should say MP4 because that's just the way that it's traditionally written, and you can manually change that. And you see you can also do things like changing the size, flip it around, move it over to the side if you want to, and you can get sort of creative with it. My guess is you can change the colors as well. You can change the fonts and so on. Love never fades away. I would argue with that. But at any rate, you can do a whole bunch of other stuff where it's sort of like custom editing. It's simple, and it's mainly about captions and subtitles, but it's a pretty nice feature that you can use, especially if you're somebody like an English, Spanish, German, French, so on teacher. You do choose the language up front, and basically once you've chosen it on the site, you're kind of stuck with that one, if I remember correctly. Let me see if I can go back to the main page of this. So, upload your video. And notice I didn't log in or sign up for it. Now there's probably a limit to how many you can do. I'm not sure about that. But you would put the link there. And I'm not going to go through the whole process again. Hit enter. Yeah, I'm going to stop it right here. I think you have to mention what language that you want to use for it. But the point is, it's pretty nice, especially for language teachers. But it might also work for, say you're a math teacher who teaches in a language that's different from what some of your students speak. Like if you're in just a school that's very diverse, for instance, this might help some of those students. And I might be thinking of a different one, but I thought somewhere you had to choose the language. At any rate, that's this V'd one. The next one I use is Merge PDF, smallpdf.com Merge PDF, and I do that simply to merge a bunch of files into one and to create a PDF. So basically what you do is you upload the files that you intend to merge. I'm not going to show you, but I believe you can then move them around, and then you end up getting one PDF file out of it. Now you can upload docs, you can upload JPEGs, you can upload, let's see, it should tell you, and it shows just custom files. You can choose all files, but that's going to give you some issues. But like for instance, this one's a PDF and this one's a JPEG. So it's the common files that you would normally use. You can upload all of them and then rearrange them in whatever order you want, and you end up with one PDF, which is what Adobe Acrobat is for. And that's really convenient because you don't have to pay for Adobe Acrobat, especially for something that's so old. You know, PDF's been around for like, I don't know, 30 years. And so Merge PDF is one that I use quite often. Clipart Max is one that I don't use. Well, I do use it a bit, but the younger, the teachers for younger students use it often because you can type in simple stuff like balloon, and you end up with a whole bunch of PNGs. Oh, of course, 0 clip art for balloon. Here, let's just do decoration. Did I spell balloon wrong? I probably did. Is that it? That can't be right. I guess there's only one L in balloon. So much for being an English teacher. Anyways, you get a whole bunch of these, and what's nice is because they're PNGs, where you see the checkerboard, that is transparent. Now it's a bit of a hassle to download them. There's like 3 things you got to do. So you will click again, and you get it here, and then you can download, and then click again, and then, oh my God, wait for it. And there you go. But you see here, there's the checkerboard shown here. That's because they're PNGs, and PNGs support transparent backgrounds, support transparency. And so this is showing as a black background because I have a dark theme on, but that is a transparent background. So now, if I take and I put that into a presentation, I don't have to trim a bunch of stuff, and I end up with those shapes and only those shapes. That's something that, especially on PowerPoints, a whole lot of teachers don't realize, that if you have a transparent background, it fits in seamlessly and it looks really nice. If you don't have a transparent background, especially if you have a background that's a different color from the background of your presentation, you end up with a bunch of boxes everywhere. And it doesn't really look as, it doesn't look as professional, frankly. So this is a nice website that you don't have to sign up for or anything. And it's got a pretty good variety of things. So like I've used this for penguins for, I think I made my the banner on my YouTube page with clip art from here, typing in Windows logo, Linux, Penguin, Mac OS, Apple logo, stuff like that. So that's another nice one. Cutly is a good one. This is just for shortening URLs. So that same YouTube URL, shorten, it gives you this short one. It's simple, but especially when you're dealing with kids who aren't very computer literate, or almost more importantly, parents who aren't super computer literate. If they think that they need to type in the URL manually and they don't think to just click a link, this helps, but it also looks more professional in lots of cases. So like for instance, if you want to put a URL onto a presentation or, I don't know, onto your CV, having a shortened URL is nice because now, especially if it's on something that's going to be printed out, now when the person goes to enter it, they're entering 15 characters instead of 150. And there's much less of a chance of them messing something up. QR Code Monkey is one that I've done a video on before. You can create QR codes so that you can simply scan it with, let's see, I think I can just hit enter, yeah, and download PNG. It tells you to sign up, but you can see it's actually working there. You can create QR codes so that with a cell phone or a tablet, your student can just scan it, and then they have whatever link it is that you want them to go to. So for instance, I should be able to show you pretty quickly here. I've got a program on here just called Scanner, and it looks like just a camera. And so, let's see if I can get this in the frame. There we go. And you probably can't see this, but it gives me the link to that YouTube, the video that I just showed you. And there it is. It's starting to play. So I've made a whole video on this so that people know how to use this one. But it's one that I probably don't use as often as I should, but it's really convenient. One of the things that I thought about using this for was to create a billboard with an image of the book and then QR codes. And I talked about this in the last video. But what's nice about that is for students who, might not necessarily be able to go out and just buy a book easily, or who wouldn't do that. They may download a book from Project Gutenberg or one of the other book archives that has a lot of classics and stuff. And this is a quick and easy way to get kids to do it. This one I use myself for things like presentations, but it's awesome for students. And so this is one that I'll tell students straight up to use it because, when I was a student, we had a giant MLA handbook for every different possible type of source that you would need to cite. And they've put all of that into here. So I'm going to use that same YouTube page. Searches for the source. Click the Cite button. Click Continue. Now I can put in the author. For instance, I know that I am the author of that one. Suffix. Esquire. Yeah, I'm that good. Complete citation. And there you go. I can do copy citation. I can copy it to a Word document. I can check it and select just certain ones. I can also export it. And if you export it, you can get a Word document. Here we are. And now it's going to actually have one that I used for a different thing. That's what the John Oliver late night thing is. But there you go. Now I've got my resources, my references right there. And as far as I'm concerned, students ought to use this because this is one of those things where knowing that the skill is necessary is the important bit. No one is going to be able to memorize all of the MLA rules. So this right here saves time where students don't need to fish through a giant Bible-sized book to find out how to cite sources when they can simply use this tool. This is one of those situations where, yeah, sure, you should always learn how to add, subtract, multiply, divide. But after you know it, get a calculator. This is your calculator. And finally, the last one that I use all the time is this YouTube downloader page. Oops, what did I do there? Well, if I just choose a YouTube video, so I'll go to my channel. Yeah, we'll do this one. Copy link address. Paste it in there, and now I can download that video. And I use this oftentimes because I want to use videos in presentations or maybe want to use them in class. And having the YouTube link is one thing, but you end up getting those suggestions for other videos to watch. You end up getting ads and other junk. With this, I can just download the video straight up and I know exactly what the content is. Plus I can save it to a place like Google Drive so I can easily access it. You can also use the captions on this, and you can have Google YouTube automatically generate captions if you like to. And I believe they'll show up, but if not, you can use the caption generator at the beginning of this video to get captions as well. All right, so that's all. Just showing a whole bunch of the extra stuff that I use. That's not just specifically about one specific discipline or one grade, just some general teaching tools. So I hope this helps somebody. Enjoy.